Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. And thanks for tuning in. It's all, it always means a lot when you people always tune in. I have a couple of stories to discuss this early morning, but basically, Emiliano Buendia, that is the move. That is the story we're going to talk about. And according to a couple of reports now, it's 10 hours. I even didn't know it was this, old. But reports have it Arsenal are very, very close to agreeing a deal with Norwich for Emi Buendia. And Norwich are saying they don't want the deal to be dragged throughout the summer. So they want to agree the deal very, very soon. We are going to discuss that. A couple of reports have been speaking about that. I'm going to speak about the likes of Cengiz under. Arsenal want to battle Leicester City for Cengiz under, probably one of those players that we've been linked with before. Jerome Boateng as well. We've been linked with Jerome Boateng before, and I'll talk about Jerome Boateng as well in a minute. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you're new, you've subscribed to the channel. It really does mean a lot. This show is brought to you by 1xBet. Now, 1xBet brings you all your betting tips, all your betting, betting accessories. Just go to their website. You'll be able to get every game. Today there is that Manchester United Villarreal game. So if you want to take part, by betting, if you want to make some extra cash by betting, it's as easy as clicking the link in the description. Use promo code Cossy Media, and it will actually give you almost $130 up to $130. That is how interesting that. But you could win a couple of prizes as well on their website. Prizes like smartphones, smart TVs. They have very, very interesting bonuses as well. So if you go to 1xBet, you won't regret. They are authentic, and they are all in all countries across Africa, across Europe. They have an official partnership with Barcelona as well. So they're authentic. Make sure you bet with a very authentic house, and that is 1xBet for you. So let us get into the news, people. The Emiliano Buendia deal. It is really, really interesting. A lot of news around this deal, and I'm going to try to make sure that you get everything absolutely in full. Let us start off with what the Mail have written. They have said Arsenal determined to see off Aston Villa and make Emiliano Buendia their first signing of the summer after Ghana's open talks with Norwich over 40 million rated championship player of the season. So I think the urgency is coming up, because of Aston Villa. So I should say thanks to Aston Villa for coming in, for this deal, because what Arsenal were doing was wasting a lot of time trying to think that we are the only club interested, saying we want to first look at, listen to from Real Madrid about Odegaard. Remember, Madrid is not even settled. They do not even have a manager at the moment. But we're going to talk about that. Let's try to read from the Mail and see what they have actually written. So they have said Arsenal have opened talks over Norwich midfielder and forward Emi Buendia as they look to head of competition from Aston Villa. Buendia, who has been called up by Argentina for the Copa America next month, is valued at around £40 million by newly promoted Norwich, with a percentage sell-on due to his former club Getafe. There is an acceptance that Buendia will leave, and Arsenal's new director of football, Richard Garlick, seems determined to make the 24-year-old their first signing of the summer. That is according to the Mail Online. And further about the deal, they're saying that Arsenal fans are eager to see a change following a hugely underwhelming season, and Garlick wants to ensure his tenure gets off to a strong start. Discussions have escalated quickly, with Norwich eager to avoid transfer saga dragging on through the summer. The Carrow Road club anticipate offers around £35 million plus add-ons, and Arsenal know Villa have the financial muscle to compete. Villa have Buendia's compatriot Emiliano Martinez and want an attacking player who can give them a greater goal threat, particularly if Manchester City step up their interest for 100 million rated talisman Jack Grealish. Buendia, who has scored 15 goals this season, on the way of being named Norwich's Player of the Season and EFL's Championship Player of the Season. He's hoping to figure for Argentina in their pending World Cup qualifiers next month, plus the Copa America, and the transfer is expected to be concluded soon if talks continue to escalate. People, that's it. That's it. Everything I wanted to say, actually, everything that has been quoted on Twitter is coming from the main online. It is happening. So, the first thing that I'm looking at this deal is it's a deal that is really happening so fast. Yesterday, by the time it was midnight, nothing. There was nothing much, really nothing much. At this point in time, Arsenal initiated talks. We started talks, and talks have escalated. And it is anticipated, if talks continue to escalate, a deal will be agreed in the next 24 hours. Honestly, this is so much. So much. I didn't expect the Emi Buendia deal to be a priority at the moment, because they had reported that Martin Odegaard is going to be a priority. So I was still listening in. I was still waiting for what is going to come in from the Martin Odegaard camp. What are we going to do in terms of Martin Odegaard? But at the moment, if Arsenal is really in discussions with Norwich, it seems a deal is very, very close. And of course, according to the AFC staff, quoting the Mail, they've said discussions have escalated quickly, with Norwich eager to avoid a transfer saga dragging on through the summer. And they anticipate offers for around £35 million. That's it. So we have talked to the agent. We've talked to Norwich as a club. The only thing we have not done, I think, is discuss personal terms and things like that with the player. Obviously, I think in the next 24 or 48 hours, we could start seeing stories like that. Arsenal have agreed, or Arsenal in discussions with with Emi Buendia for personal terms, if we get the clearance to do that. But for me, it's a no-brainer, and I've said it before. It's a no-brainer. Having Emi Buendia at the moment at the club would be an absolute no-brainer. We need such a player. Yes, Odegaard is good, but what if he doesn't sign? What if Real Madrid need a lot of time to decide? At the moment, Madrid is sinking. They need a lot of time to do their business, a lot of time. So I don't really expect Arsenal to wait for Martin Odegaard. We could either get him back, on loan, probably, or sign him on a permanent deal. But all that depends on Real Madrid. This is a better deal. The Emi Buendia deal is a better deal. First and foremost, Norwich want to sell. Get me right. They're under no pressure, and it's been reported widely. Then they're under no pressure to sell, but I mean they will get the money. They will accept the money. They have already made it official. They're not going to stand in the way of Buendia. They won't stand in the way of any player, whether it's Todd Cantwell or Max Aarons. Whoever wants those players, you can take them. It's been made quite very clear. And for me, that is why I feel the Emi Buendia deal is the deal to do. Honestly. So talks escalating, and now we are locked in talks for the player. I think the only thing that will fail is the price tag. As you know, Arsenal, when a player is valued at 40 million, we are going in with 25. So I'm expecting stories like bid rejected, because that is Arsenal. Last summer, when we were chasing Housem Owa, Lyon wanted around 40 million pounds or 45. What we did was go in with 20, and it was just right away. So you never know what Arsenal is planning. But the first thing, at least the first bit, we've confirmed, is that we are now in intensive, serious talks with Norwich to get the player. People, what do you think about this story? Do you believe he could be our first signing of the summer? Because yesterday, also reports came in that Arsenal are in intensified talks with Bayer Leverkusen to get Edmund Tapsoba. So for me, it means two things, and I'm looking at this deal as, in two things. First and foremost, probably, writers are taking advantage because we are desperate, or the new director of football at the club is doing things differently. And this is what, this is some of the things we've been talking about, that apart from failing to do deals, we also need to do deals in time. I mean, if you brought in Emi Buendia at this point in time, by the time the window opens, he joins the club. He's gonna have a whole summer training with the club. So if you brought, if you made your business early, around 2 or 3 players come in, it's as easy as that. So we don't need to do transfer business, and I'm really excited about Emi Buendia. He's one player that I really do like, to see, at Arsenal this summer, really. But of course, we have to wait and see. Now, Football.London have come up with a follow-up story, and they have said Emi Buendia explains his stance on Arsenal move as Ghana's prepare offer for Norwich midfielder. So they have said Norwich midfielder Emi Buendia admits he is motivated by Arsenal's interest in him as the Gunners weigh up making a formal offer for the Argentine. Buendia scored 15 goals and provided 15 assists. Actually scored 15 and provided 16 assists. Last summer, point of correction for Football.London. In their second tier over this campaign, and was named Championship Player of the Year. So literally, this has been reported. I think this is an easy deal for Arsenal to do. This has been reported widely. The player wants to play for Arsenal. He wants a move, and a move to Aston Villa as compared to a move to Arsenal. However much the likes of Fabrizio Romano and the likes of Charles Watts are saying that there are other competitors, there are other outfits from on a European level, including the likes of maybe Barcelona that are interested. But I think Arsenal is leading that race. We are leading a couple of races, by the way. And don't get me wrong, we have always led races and lost them. But I think leading the Bissouma race, leading the Emi Buendia race, also leading the Tapsoba race, that is, that is positive. That is really positive, for Arsenal at the moment. Are we gonna do the deal? Is it gonna happen? There's a very big question there. Very, very big question. Are we eventually gonna sign Emi Buendia? I can't wait for that, people. I really can't wait for that. But like I said, with Arsenal, you've got to be skeptical. All the time. You've got to be skeptical. You cannot believe, but at times, you've got to be skeptical. But this is what Fabrizio Romano tweeted last night. He said Arsenal are seriously considering signing Emi Buendia. The Arsenal board appreciate him and have started talks with the player's agent again after opening talks in December. Buendia would accept a move and is now waiting. So I think, for me, why I believe in this story is because of Fabrizio Romano. When Romano says talks have started and the player is waiting, because Romano is always a step back. When rumors are flying, done deal, agreed, he's always gonna give you that assurance that probably a deal has been submitted. So he's always a step back, not because he's not, not because he's not updated, but he gives you that verified information. So he says we have opened talks again with the player's agent after we opened them in way back in December, and he says Buendia would accept a move to Arsenal. Brilliant. And he says now he is waiting. What is going to happen in the next 48 or 72 hours? That is what we have to keep eyes on, because there is the Bissouma deal. Likely, very, very likely, £30 million. That is where we are. Brighton have actually reduced the asking price to £30 million. So that is where we are. And now there is the Emi Buendia deal. We are already in talks, and then we are also in talks with Bayer Leverkusen for Edmund Tapsoba. So probably we could see Arsenal seal a deal as early as in the next 72 hours. There could be something coming out of Arsenal negotiations. And like I said, it doesn't do us any bad. We have to do the deals early. I mean, if everybody knows that we have to do the deals early. It's something that we have to do. Do the deals early. Try to maintain that that urgency, because when the season was ending, there's a lot of urgency in reports talking about how we sign NBA Buendia, how we will sign Odegaard, how we bring in ABC. Now the transfer window, now it is time to act. So the likes of Buendia, the likes of Bissouma, the likes of Edmond Temsoba, I'm just waiting which deal will happen first, because that is what I'm really waiting for. What, which deal is going to happen first. Let me take you into some of the other stories around Arsenal, and they're saying this is from the Mail, the Daily Mail as well, and they're saying Arsenal are ready for a summer battle for Roma winger Cengiz under, with AC Milan and Borussia Dortmund also keen despite wingers' underwhelming loan spell with Leicester City. So they're saying Arsenal are interested in a summer move for struggling Leicester City loanee Cengiz under. Though they will face competition from both AC Milan and Borussia Dortmund, according to reports from Italy. The 23-year-old has struggled to make an impression in the Premier League this season, having arrived from the parent club Roma on a season-long loan deal way back in September last year. According to Tuto Makato Web via the Mirror, the Gunners are ready to battle it out for under the services this summer, with Roma prepared to let the attacker leave for around £17.2 million. Under arrived in the Premier League, having scored 17 goals in 88 appearances for Roma, though ultimately failing to lock down his place in the side with just 13 starts in the 2019-2020 Serie A campaign. Leicester City boss Brendan Rodgers was delighted by the signing, revealing they had been watching the talented winger who fit the profile they were looking for in an attacker who could beat a man 1v1 and break down unorganized defense. The deal included an option to buy with a fee of £22 million touted, but having failed to cement a place in the side, the Turkish winger appears to be heading back to Rome instead. Under has managed just 19 appearances in total for the Foxes, scoring twice and providing 3 assists with only 9 starts in all competitions. Additionally, he has not made a league. He has not made league appearances since late February and hasn't featured in any Leicester City last 3 Premier League squads. That is Cengiz under for you. And Rodgers admitted the loan move hasn't quite gone as according to plan, revealing the 23-year-old has struggled to adapt to the Premier League. He said for Cengiz, it's adaptation to the Premier League. He has shown moments of quality for us, but it's difficult for him because there are other players in his position that understand the Premier League very well. Despite his lack of game time, Under could soon find himself back in the Premier League. However, with Arsenal accredited with an interest. Okay. Cengiz Under. Like, he's a player I do rate, by the way. I rate him as a player, but he's a winger. I don't see Arsenal go for wingers at the moment. I mean, the really are preparing to go back to Chelsea. Probably that could be a base, but in terms of squad depth, I don't think Arsenal is looking for a winger. At least, if you have Saka and Pepe starting, you have the likes of Smith Rowe, who could play on the left wing. You have the likes of Gabriel Martinelli waiting from the bench. You have Bruce Nelson, who has not got playing time, and we are not going to have so many games this season. And I don't see Arsenal play. We are not in Europa League. We are not in the Conference League, so we don't have so many games where these other players would actually feature in. But Cengiz Under would be a very great addition if Arsenal decided to go for him. First and foremost, he's one of those players that are really young, 19 years of age, and real quality. He's really, really talented. If you've watched him at Roma, you know what I'm talking about. I think I rate him as much as I rate Camavinga. They don't play in the same position, but just because of their age, I rate them at the same level. I think in Under, you would get a Phil Foden, something like that. He's a very, very brilliant young lad, but he struggled at Leicester City. He struggled with the Premier League. We all know it's not an easy league. We have seen so many brilliant players come and they struggle. The likes of Dani Ceballos, how good was he, and how poor has he become? you can see the difference. So Premier League football is not easy. It's not that easy. You either adapt or you're thrown out. But 19 years of age, I can't really say that he can't play in the Premier League. We've seen the likes of Kevin De Bruyne when he was at Chelsea. All of us thought he was never going to play football. He was sold to Wolfsburg. Was he sold to Wolfsburg he was sold to Wolfsburg, and then recently he comes back at Manchester City, and he's Premier League material, and he's the best player in the Premier League at the moment. So 19 years of age, it's really hard for us to say Cengiz under cannot fit at Arsenal and cannot fit in the Premier League. There's a lot to learn. You need a manager. You need the adaptation process takes so much. But tell me, people, would you take Cengiz? And I know you've seen him at Leicester City, a couple of for a couple of occasions. On a couple of occasions, would you take Cengiz under 19 years of age? He's a winger. I don't know whether you could use him as a number 10 as well, but I think primarily, he is motivated as a winger. So would you take in another winger if Willian left the club? Of course, reports had it yesterday that Willian wants to go back to Chelsea, and I was like, this is really funny. I mean, why is he even looking at a deal back back at Chelsea? But anyway, Cengiz under, the deal could be done. Would you take Cengiz under at Arsenal at the moment? We have two stories to discuss more in terms of our defensive options, and the first one is Jerome Boateng. The other is Edmond Tapsoba. We talked about Tapsoba before, and I'm preparing to do a whole video about Tapsoba. So make sure you tune in for that. But yesterday, reports had it that Arsenal had started the talks, and we were in talks with Edmond Tapsoba that it could be our first signing of the summer. Today, reports are still circulating that Arsenal are favorites to do that deal. There are so many clubs that are interested. The likes of Liverpool have been interested in that deal, but Liverpool will be signing Konate, and a couple of other clubs are interested. But reports still say that we are favorites to get the deal done. So for Edmond Tapsoba, I know you need an update, but as per now, we are just favorites. We are in talks. Let us wait and see what's going to come out of the talks. Around 44 million pounds is his release clause. At times I think about it and I'm like, really, is Arsenal going to go and sign a player of with a release clause of 44 million pounds in this summer? It might not be that easy. But with Jerome Boateng, we've been linked Jerome Boateng as the player that we might bring in terms of centre back. And at first, when I saw that story, I was disgusted. I want to be honest. I was disgusted. But then I thought about it. I think Jerome Boateng has something that we need. He has experience. He has aerial prowess. And he has the pedigree. If we brought in Saliba to play with Gabriel and Kian Tierney probably, our average age in that defense, because Tierney is 23, Gabriel is 22, Saliba is 20, and then you have if you brought in a player like Tapsoba who is 22, our average age in that defense would be 22. You need a player who can give instructions. You need a player who is a little bit more experienced at centre back. Chelsea have Thiago Silva, and you can see how brilliant they've been in terms of organization. A player who can organize the defense, a player who can speak, and the rest of the other players listen. So then I considered a free deal of Jerome Boateng. But is he Premier League quality? He's been at Bayern for almost all his life. Is he Premier League quality? I don't know. But you know what? I think if Arsenal decided to go for a player like Matt Hummels, I would be comfortable because Hummels has achieved it. He's been at Dortmund, went to Bayern, came back at Dortmund, and he's still a very top, a top centre back. But for Jerome Boateng, I have my own problems with the player. Of course, he would give us the experience. He would give us so many things in terms of pedigree. But I have issues with Jerome Boateng. I really do have issues with Jerome Boateng. But don't get me wrong, he's another top player. top player. If Arsenal brought in Jerome Boateng at the moment, I think for 1 or 2 seasons, there is something we get. This season, one of our best centre backs has been David Louis, and for me, the only reason he has been that is, he has the experience, he has the pedigree. You look at him and he's different among the line. So, would you take Jerome Boateng, people? Would you take Jerome Boateng and Arsenal? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we are linked with Jerome Boateng, but for terms of pedigree, for terms of in terms of pedigree, quality, and experience and leadership, because the Arsenal team doesn't have leadership. Forget our captain Aubameyang; he's not a leader. Aubameyang is not a leader. So, in terms of what we get from Jerome Boateng, I could do probably a year or 2, but not 3 years. The problem with Arsenal, they bring in Boateng and sign him up for 3 years, and then you're like, what are you doing? But I don't know that centre back partnership between Saliba and Gabriel lacks experience, really. Pablo Mari would be the experienced centre back at Arsenal at the moment, but I don't trust Pablo Mari, really. I don't really trust Pablo Mari to play 38 games in a season. He's been okay. I mean, he's an okay player, but if you're looking for exceptionally good, then we have to look into the market. If you're losing David Louis, you need someone who has the same qualities. A little bit good in the air. I think that's one of our problems. Robodin cannot actually defend in the air. So we need someone who's good in the air. And that's why Arsenal are looking at Tapsoba as their first priority. They're looking at someone who can win area duels. I think Gabriel can also do that, win the area duels all the time. So if you have Tapsoba and Gabriel winning area duels, they are very good, in terms of physique. Tapsoba is actually better in terms of physicality. So I think they could blend. They could blend together. They could play together. Saliba, for me, is a ball-playing centre back. I don't know why Mikel Arteta doesn't want to give him a chance at the moment, but my problem with William Saliba will be going for it too much. If he can't play with a player like Gabriel Magalhaes, you can't play them together. But Jerome Boateng, Tapsoba, all of those have been linked with Arsenal. What do you people think about those deals? Jerome Boateng, I think he's 32 or 33 years of age. He's been as long as I remember Jerome Boateng, he's been at Bayern. How lucky he has been. I don't know whether he deserves it, but he's been at Bayern all his life. And his brother, I think Kevin Prince Boateng, has been traveling through Europe, being he's been in the Premier League, he's been at AC Milan, and things have never worked out so well for him. But Jerome Boateng, he's a top class centre back in terms of experience. I mean, if Chelsea signed Thiago, how old was Thiago Silva? 34, 35? If they brought in Thiago, probably we could also bring in Jerome Boateng for 1 or 2 seasons as we try to groom the likes of Saliba, probably Tapsoba, and the likes of Gabriel. What do you think, people? What do you think about Arsenal going in the market for the services of Jerome Boateng? And of course, tell me what you think about Tapsoba. We are really working so hard to sign him. So probably, like I said, in the next 3 days, by Friday, we could have something break. Will it be Bissouma? Will it be Tapsoba? Will it be Buendia? We are in talks with 2 players. That has already been confirmed. We are in talks with Bissouma. No, sorry. We are in talks with Tapsoba, and we are in talks with Emi Buendia. So that is it. For those people who are just joining us, the title of the story, Emi Buendia, Arsenal close to agreeing that deal. And the reason as to why I came up with the title is reports have it that talks were initiated yesterday, and they have escalated through the roofs. They have escalated quickly. And now which are saying, you people need to do this deal as soon as possible. We don't want the saga to drag throughout the summer. Arsenal is good at dragging deals. I mean, are they trying to mock us? I mean, I don't understand why they're saying that they don't want the deal to drag throughout the summer, but Arsenal is good at doing such deals. You remember the Karim Benzema deal. You remember the Houssem Aouar deal throughout the whole summer. Thomas Partey throughout the whole summer. I mean, this Arsenal never breaks their deal. So I know what you're saying. If you want the player good enough, You have the money, bring the money, you take the player. We don't want this to escalate. And it would be very, very good if we sign the player before he goes out next month, with Argentina for the Copa America and the World Cup qualifiers. So I think it would be better if we brought in Emi Buendia before he goes to Argentina for the Copa America. What do you think, people? But that is the update we have around Emi Buendia. Talks have escalated, and anytime a deal could be broken. 35 million pounds. That is what Norwich is looking at. Well, on